So I just got done with my second take at a Kephart knife after the first one turned into a total disaster. But this one went pretty well, and I like the way it came out. I made some changes with the design of this one. You can see this one is a typical full tang knife. You can see the tang all the way around, whereas the other two that I had made, it's full tang in the way that a Mora Garberg is full tang. You know, it has a wide tang, you can see it on the end, but it's actually inlet into the handle scales, which completely surround it. And I did that just to make it possible to make a blade out of a straight 1-inch wide piece of bar stock, and incorporated the handle bump there right into the the wood of the scales, which isn't really a hand guard. According to Kephart, it's just there to make it fit better in the sheath, and it does work pretty well for that. But on my improved model here, I decided to cut the blade out of a wider piece of steel and incorporate the bump there right into the steel blade, which definitely should hold up better over time, and has a nice feel to it. It's not actually a really much more steel in this blade than there is in this one, but you wouldn't think. It's only I took about 1/8 of an inch off of each side of the bar to narrow the tang on this one, but this one you can feel the difference in the weight. It has a nice solid feel to it. And I also made some what I think are some slight improvements to the blade over the other one on this one. Because I had wider steel to work with, I actually laid it out in such a way that it's about 1/8 of an inch and 1/8 wide at the belly of the blade, and it's also slightly wider at the butt end of the handle. So it kind of maybe you can see kind of the very subtle arc to it this way, which it's hard to even perceive just looking at it, but I think it makes it a nicer looking knife, and maybe a little more comfortable to use, a little more effective. But I think this one came out pretty good. Definitely a solid knife. The sheath also is a pretty nice looking solid sheath. Of course, one thing with this one is it is, may the forge gods forgive me, a stock removal knife. I just cut and shaped it out of a piece of steel, but truth be told, these other ones are pretty much stock removal knives also. There's only so much forging you can do with 1/8 inch thick steel. Pretty much all I did with these was forge a point on the end of a bar. When I forge blades from thicker stock, I don't forge my edge down much thinner than 1/8 of an inch anyways, because you don't want it real thin when you heat treat it. But the original ones were not forged. Even going back into the 1800s, knives of this type were stamped out of sheet metal. So I don't really feel bad about not forging it. It's just not a practical type of blade to forge, really. But it is a good blade. Heat treated just as good as any of my other ones, and it is sharp. And it's funny, people would consider this to be a very thin knife today, but actually, I've read references to things like the old Green River knives back in the fur trade era of the 1840s, and they were 1/8 of an inch thick. And those knives were prized in those days because that was considered a thick, heavy-duty knife, 1/8 of an inch, And so that'll be an excellent slicer, and that's kind of a sign to me of how people's approach to knives has kind of changed over the years. You know, to me, a good knife is something that's a really good, you know, something that cuts really well, slices really well. And that's how, you know, old knives were a long time ago. And, you know, real classic knives like the Opinels and things like that, which are some of my favorite knives. Whereas today, the trend is to make everything really thick and really heavy, and it's almost as though the consensus among the bushcraft types is that a knife is a tool for splitting firewood, which is totally different from the way that you know, master outdoorsmen from, you know, over 100 years ago, like Horace Kephart, you know, very different from how they thought about knives. And you know, this is what he considered to be the perfect outdoors, you know, what we would consider today a bushcraft knife after his lifetime of being in the wilderness. So that's what I like about these type of knives. That's what got me into making these in the first place, the Kepharts. But anyways, that's finally a good end to this project. And this one I will keep in my collection of misfit knives, which are the only ones I can afford to keep. But anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching.